If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So here we are. We have finally reached it. We are officially at the 2021 chase for the Bill France Cup. 10 weeks of war to decide who will win this year's championship. Before we talk about what happened in the Southern 500, let's talk about the other races happened this week. So of course, we're going to pretty much start this off with the weekend schedule. It sets off to where we have the least important races first. aka the non-chase races, because we have the Xfinity race at Darlington, which is getting down to its home stretch. We still got a regular season championship battle between Allmendinger and Cindric to still decide with 3 races to go, and we still got 4 chase spots still up for grabs. So throughout this race, the Xfinity race at Darlington, it was mainly dominated by the Leech Denny Hamlin and a bunch of other guys like Allmendinger and Gragson were also up front too. It was mainly between those 3 for the win majority of the race. Until late in the race, we would get a caution for shit and wrecks and spins. We would also have some chase issues with terrible Herps wrecking into Tommy Joe Martins, and we would also have Brandon Jones have a wreck too. So we have some chase implications there in the points line. And Michael Annett also having a couple minor issues, so losing out. So really on the chase cut line, nothing's really gained or lost between Annett and Herps. So during the final caution, we will get the final round of pit stops. And then Denny Hamlin's pit crew is the one that took the piss in Xfinity by putting the tires over the wall too soon before Hamlin could get into the box, which means Hamlin gets a penalty. Beep. And Hamlin goes to the rear, which gives the lead. Well, initially it gives it to Daniel Hemrick since he stayed out for track position. Gambling on track position on old tires when Darlington chews the living shit out of tires and tires are more priority. A bold strategy, Con. Let's see if it pays off for Hemrick's first ever career win. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Hemrick would get chewed up and spit out on the restart. Gragson goes by. We then have a couple more crashes. Well, actually, after that, Hemrick would have a little bit of a spin, but saves it, no caution, but debris would come out from underneath his car. And right before the next caution came out, Allmendinger would then have a flat tire. And Allmendinger would fall back and have to pit right as the yellow came out, which that has regular season championship implications between Allmendinger and Cindric. Ooh, this is getting interesting now. So then the caution comes out for debris off Hemrick's car with what is pretty much a good chunk of his rear end scattered all over turn 2. And that would take us to overtime. And then in overtime, Gragson would show that he is not talentless and that he can get the job done, holding off Harrison Burton. And despite Harrison's best efforts, it was not enough, and Gragson would hold him off in the last turn. And Noah Gragson finally wins the race this year. So Noah Gragson gets his first win of the year, holding off Harrison Burton. And Noah Gragson finally wins a race clean in Xfinity on a non-superspeedway track. That's not Daytona or Talladega, without wrecking somebody. Holy shit, Gragson can win races without wrecking someone? Maybe there is hope for him after all. I like Gragson. I don't know why Gragson gets so much hate. He seems like a nice guy. He was even very polite to the fans and calling the fans a bunch of badasses. He even climbed a catch fence for them. I don't understand the hate for Gragson. He seems like a nice guy. And with that, Gragson, you get your next reward. Gragson, you're now officially locked into the Xfinity chase. All I say is I wouldn't sleep on Gragson in the chase. I think Gregson's getting hot at the right time. He might be one of the hottest drivers to enter an Xfinity chase. I definitely say I think he could make the Final Four this year. I think he's easily a big sleeper pick. I think he can go a lot deeper than some people may think. But yeah, whether Gragson can get hot at the right time in the chase is yet to be seen. But Gragson gets the win. And of course, Twitter's gonna have a fucking meltdown. Because Gragson won. In fact, here, all I have to say to Gragson haters is, here's my message for all of yous. And while we're at it, we'll take a live look at Kamikaze Games after watching Noah Gragson beat Harrison Burton clean.
Yeah, come here. Somebody call the police!
Yeah, Gragson haters are just fucking petty and they'll just find any excuse to hate him. Like, honestly, the Gragson haters are just a perfect example of the NASCAR fan base and the community where NASCAR fans are just very petty and they'll just find any excuse or any reason to hate someone over some petty bullshit or some crap like that. Yeah, because NASCAR fans are petty. Like I've said time and time again, like a broken record, NASCAR fans need to be better. The end. Anyway, let's move on. We got the F1 race at Zandvoort, the Dutch GP. Let's be real, the Dutch GP, this race was completely the Max Verstappen show. Despite Valtteri Bottas' best attempts on pit strategy, it still wasn't enough to stop Super Max at his home track. And of course, to the delight of the fans, which I believe 99% of that crowd was majority Verstappen fans. Like, I did not even see a red Ferrari shirt in that crowd. That crowd was almost entirely Verstappen. And Max Verstappen gets, I believe, what is it, his 6th or 7th win of the year? Fuck, I lost count. I've already lost count because of how good he's been this year. And Verstappen gets the win in the Dutch GP. So, Verstappen becomes the first ever Dutch driver to win the Dutch Grand Prix. About time. A well-deserved win for Super Max at his home track. Now the Orange Army can go celebrate. I should also mention with that Max Verstappen has also retaken the championship lead over Lewis Hamilton by 3 points. Let's be real, despite this race being not that good, this race was still a hell of a lot better than that scam job last week in Belgium. Belgium was not a real race. Nothing you can say can change otherwise. But yeah, also in this race, we finally get the controversy at Mercedes, where we have AKA the final straw that broke the camel's back. Because late in the race, Valtteri Bottas would pit for soft tires to go for fastest lap. But there was a catch. Valtteri Bottas was told by the team, we have the Valtteri James moment where Valtteri was told not to go for the fastest lap and not fuck Hamilton over. And Valtteri Bottas finally said fuck it and ignored orders and cooked the fastest lap. Only for Lewis Hamilton to pit a lap or two later and take the fastest lap back. Valtteri finally ignored team orders and said fuck it. Thank God. There, maybe that ought to be enough for Bottas to get fired by Mercedes. In fact, it is, because it was announced earlier this week that Kimi Räikkönen is retiring from F1 after 20 years in the sport. And Alfa Romeo has already announced their replacement at that team, And that replacement will be Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas is gone from Mercedes. He will be going to Alfa Romeo for at least 2 years. Let's be real. Valtteri was never going to win a championship at Mercedes, and he overstayed his welcome. So with that, it probably means that in the coming weeks, that it probably opens the door. It more than likely opens the door now for George Russell to get that second Mercedes seat in 2022. Now the question is, who gets that Williams seat in 2022? And a lot of the rumors have been pointing toward Alex Albon. Interesting. Very interesting there. We'll have to see what happens there. But F1 silly season is now heated up. Raikkonen's gone. Bottas is replacing him at Alfa Romeo, and we don't even know what Giovinazzi's situation is there. He could possibly be replaced as well. So yeah, let the F1 silly season commence. But yeah, I don't blame Bottas for ignoring the orders. Hell, I don't blame Bottas if he ignores orders, period, and screws Hamilton over. I mean, you already got fired. You're already getting fired by Mercedes. Why the fuck should you care what they tell you? Like, if I'm in Bottas' situation, I don't give a fuck what they tell me. If they tell me, don't go for fastest lap or hold position or let Lewis by, I'm not doing either of those things. Because it's like, you know what? You already fired me. Why should I care? Why should I give a damn? Like, I got nothing to lose. So yeah, I'm glad Valtteri finally said fuck it. About time Valtteri stood up for himself and said fuck you to Mercedes and their favoritism for Hamilton. About time. Anyway, now let's move on to the races that matter this week. The chase races. First off, the truck chase race at Darlington. Originally supposed to be at Mosport this weekend, but due to the Black Plague and a bunch of other bullshit, it's now Darlington. That's a suitable replacement. Just means we won't have a road course in the chase for a second year in a row. So anyway, this race, this race is mainly dominated between Sheldon Creed and John Hunter Nemechek. We would have a number of drivers have issues, like Ben Rhodeson, Austin Hill and company, including Bo Smiths. Like, you would have, it's Darlington, But in the end, in the battle between Sheldon Creed and John Hunter Nemechek, Sheldon Creed would stand strong, and he would hold off John Hunter Nemechek late in the race, and Sheldon Creed opens the chase now, winning the first 2 races of the trucks chase. So Sheldon Creed continues his winning ways and goes back to back. Wow. Maybe John Hunter Nemechek finally has a worthy opponent for the title this year, as it seems that Sheldon Creed has gone hot at the right time. But also, yeah, Creed is still the only driver locked in off wins entering the cutoff race at Bristol in 2 weeks. But John Hunter Nemechek, he was able to gain enough points. And John Hunter Nemechek is also safe to the round of 8, as he has advanced on points. So now entering the cutoff race at Bristol in 2 weeks, we have 6 spots still up for grabs. Entering Bristol, the cutoff race. So yeah, next week in 2 weeks at Bristol in trucks, 6 drivers will move on. 2 will be sent to elimination station and heading straight for the death note. But anyway, let us now move on to the Cup Chase at Darlington, the opening race of the Cup Series chase. So Darlington was actually a pretty interesting race. Like, a number of chase drivers had issues. Like, McDowell was the first one to wreck out. Okay, let's not fucking sugarcoat it. We all knew McDowell stood no chance in the chase. Like, this is just pretty much puts a nail in McDowell's coffin already. Because we all knew he stood 0 chance, and this just further proves it. I mean, we could still pretend McDowell has a chance, right? Right? And of course, a number of chase drivers had issues, like Alex Bowman hit the wall early and couldn't recover. Byron also had some contact there, since that Bowman's hit was at a bad spot on the track, and Bowman's paint scheme blended well with the shadows, so Byron's spotter missed him completely, and Byron made contact. But Byron would battle back to get in the top 10, only to blow a tire midway through the race, so Byron ends up with a wrecked out car. Kyle Busch also had a wrecked out car. And then Kyle Busch took his anger out by running over a bunch of cones and then almost running some people over. Damn it, Kyle. You wonder why people fucking hate you. And then Kyle Busch would actually do something shocking in his post-race interview. He did not blame Austin Dillon for it. He blamed his entire team for giving him a shitty car and saying they ran like dog shit all race. I wouldn't even go that far. He was running okay before that accident. He was running around top 10, top 15 all night, which was okay. Like, it wasn't a good run, but it wasn't terrible at the same time. Okay, maybe it wasn't a good run in terms of Kyle Busch standards, but still, any team would kill for the run Kyle Busch had before that wreck. Just Kyle Busch's frustration. And of course, this also means that Kyle Busch is once again throwing his crew team under the bus. Because he totally didn't try this last year with great success. So yeah, it seems like Kyle Busch has learned nothing from throwing his pit team under the bus from last year. Good to know. We would also have some more incidents in this race. A number of drivers would also have pit issues. Like Chase Elliott even had issues getting on pit road. Larson almost missed pit road, but somehow saved it and slid right in just to make it in without a penalty. Like, there was some close calls tonight. Truex had a speeding penalty. Like, almost every driver had an issue in this race. With around 60-something to go, Larson would pit, though, while leading the race. Like, the class of the field tonight was between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Like, whichever car was up front was going to be hard to beat. But Larson Hamlin dominated the day part of the race, but Larson dominated the night part of the race. But around 60 to go, Larson would pit for 4 tires, but during the pit stop, the left front tire changer had an issue trying to get all the lug nuts on, and that cost Larson a few seconds. And then while that all happened, Ross Chastain would pit a lap sooner and have a solid pit stop. And Chastain would get ahead of Kyle Larson on pit strategy in the undercut. But Hamlin and Truex were trying to gamble on pit strategy with Larson and Chastain still having to pit one more time. So it's going to be about a pit strategy race, which made it interesting for the end. Until around 50 to go, we would get the turning point of this race, when Ryan Blaney would lose his brakes and then spin out. So add Blaney to the list of drivers that had chase drivers that had issues tonight. And that came at a good time and eliminated pit strategy because Hamlin and Truex, before that caution came out, were a couple laps away from having to pit. So then that put everyone on the same cycle. So yeah, Truex would then get the lead off pit road, but hold up, penalty time, beep. Truex was caught being too fast on pit road, which means Truex has to go to the rear. Good news is there's 15 cars still on the lead lap, so not a big loss. Which meant Hamlin goes to the lead, with Chastain second and Kyle Larson in third. But Larson would get a good restart to end up right behind Hamlin. And then a lap later, Chase Elliott would get pinched up into the wall by Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell, and then Chase would blow a tire. Add Chase Elliott to the list of Chase drivers that have had issues. So Chase Elliott's title defense gets off on the wrong foot by going in the wall. Damn. Well, keep in mind, Chase Elliott hit the wall at Darlington, wrecked at Darlington last year, and still went on to win a title. Can Chase recapture that magic 2 years in a row? Or is it different this time? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, then on the final restart, it just became a battle between Larson and Hamlin. But despite Kyle Larson's best efforts, especially on the last turn, the last lap, when Larson just hit full send and ran it right on the wall trying to get past Hamlin. And Larson almost made it stick. Problem was, Hamlin went high to block. And Larson wasn't willing to wreck him. And in the end, Hamlin would hold off Larson's late attempt, and Denny Hamlin would finally get his first win of 2021, winning at Darlington. So, look at that, a rare sight to see. Denny Hamlin not choking in the chase. Truly a magnificent sight to behold. Look at it, you filthy casuals. Behold. So, that is pretty interesting. But yeah, even though Hamlin won, Larson definitely stole the show tonight because Larson, he gave it his all. He left it all out on the track tonight, just fell short. But yeah, Hamlin gets the win, so Hamlin officially moves on to the round of 12. Which I think a lot of people expected Hamlin to be moving on. A lot of people expected Hamlin to go deep. So yeah, Hamlin gets a win, and probably what's been a difficult week for him because... yeah, that. Some bullshit happening in Hamlin's personal life came out. With the whole thing about Jordan, with his longtime girlfriend, Jordan. And I'm not sure what 100% the details are because nothing has really came out yet. Everything that's come out is either reports or speculations. Especially a story with a prostitute, where Hamlin liked to have a prostitute finger his butt. Oh, what in the fuck? No, we're not touching this shit. Get this shit out of here. No. Keep that shit away from me. I don't want to know what the hell Hamlin does in his private time. I don't know what kind of kinky shit he does. Don't want to know that shit. But yeah, despite all the distractions this week on Hamlin's mind, it still wasn't enough to stop Hamlin this week. So Hamlin moves on, and Kyle Larson. So looking like this championship battle, maybe this title battle is truly Hamlin versus Larson this year after all. And Hamlin finally wins the race. Like I said in the Chase predictions vid, I told yous. What did I tell yous? I told you there was no way in hell Hamlin was going winless this year. The win was going to happen eventually at some point. The crazy thing is, I had Hamlin winning next week at Richmond. Yeah, it was still around the exact same time I expected Hamlin to win this year. But hey, Hamlin wins, so hey, congrats to Hamlin. He earned it fair and square tonight. So yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and let's take a look at all the points bubbles entering Richmond. So let's first take a look at the Truck Series Chase bubble line entering Bristol, the cutoff race at Bristol in 2 weeks, since trucks will be off next week for Richmond. So here's the cut line entering Bristol in 2 weeks. We got Matt Crafton, 35 points to the good. We have Stuart Friesen, 33 to the good. I think Crafton and Friesen are pretty much safe at this point unless something happens to them, which I highly doubt. So I think those two move on. I think they're safe. I think it's really 5th through 8th is when it gets interesting. You got Ben Rhodes, 15 to the good. Ben Rhodes just needs to stay out of trouble at Bristol and do the bare minimum to not fuck up, and he moves on. Same deal with Todd Gilliland. Like, Gilliland and Rhodes, they both control their own destinies. Hocevar and Austin Hill, they need to just have solid runs or stay close to Zane Smith or Chandler Smith, hoping neither of those two win. Or just stay close and finish near them to have a shot. Those two control their own destinies as well. Zane Smith, 5 below the cutoff line. He either needs to win or he needs to have a solid run and hope Austin Hill struggles. Same deal with Chandler Smith. Like, Chandler just needs to have either win or have a really good run and hope Austin Hill or Carson Hocevar have issues at Bristol. So yeah, 6 spots still up for grabs on the truck side entering Bristol. Who moves on to the round of 8 and who goes to Elimination Station? Meanwhile, here's the Xfinity Chase bubble with 2 races to go, with now 3 playoff spots up for grabs. So you got Jeremy Clements, who's now 78 points to the good, because while everyone else was having issues, Jeremy Clements finished inside the top 10 and did the bare minimum to not fuck up. So now Jeremy Clements, he's 78 to the good. I think Clements is safe on points. I'm not concerned about him. I think at this point, Clements controls his own destiny. Brandon Jones, despite his issues, he got lucky with other drivers having issues, so Jones still remains 65 above the cutoff line, so I think Jones is pretty good too. Like, Jones controls his own destiny, and then you got Terrible Herps, who got lucky with Mike Wynette having issues as well, so now Herps is 46 points to the good. At this point, I think the only way Herps misses the chase is if Annette or someone below the cutoff line wins. And then right below the cutoff line, you got Annette 46 behind, Sieg 84 behind, and then Brandon Brown 103 behind. Those are the only 3 drivers that are still mathematically eligible to make the chase. They're pretty much, I believe, all 3 are in a must-win scenario. And then everyone else on down, from the Landon Castles to the Tommy Joe Martins to the Brett Moffats to the Alex LeBays to the Jade Burfords, their goal is very simple. They've all been mathematically eliminated. The only way they have a shot at making the chase is if they win a race, along with the Josh Williams as well. So, for those guys, their goal is very simple in the next 2 weeks. Win, and you're in. So, yeah. And to be honest, the only 2 drivers below the cutoff line I could see winning at either Richmond or Bristol are either Sieg or Annette. But, yeah. Gonna be interesting to see what happens at Richmond next week for Xfinity. 2 races left, 3 spots. And we still got also the regular season championship to keep an eye on between Allmendinger and Cindric. Where now it's a really close points battle, with Cindric having a good run and AJ having issues. And now here's the Cup Chase bubble line after Darlington. So you got Kyle Larson, 80 points to the good. Let's be real. Larson's not missing, not getting eliminated. I think odds are next week, Larson more than likely is going to mathematically lock himself in, even if he doesn't win at Richmond. Then you got Martin Truex Jr., who's 36 to the good. You got Kurt Busch, 26 to the good. Blaney, 22 to the good. Logano, 21 to the good. And Harvick, 20 to the good. I believe all those names are off to good starts, but anything can happen at Richmond or Bristol. But Keselowski on down, it was when it gets interesting. You got Keselowski, 12 points to the good. You got Christopher Bell, 5 points to the good. Chase Elliott, the reigning champ, is only 4 points to the good right now after the first race, with 2 races left in round 1. You got Eric Almirola, who's 3 points above the cutoff line. And I should mention here real quick that Eric Almirola runs well at Richmond. So, Almirola, if he can have a solid run at Richmond, he could put himself in a good position entering the cutoff race at Bristol. And then you got Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman, who are tied for the 12th spot. But the tiebreaker in this situation, in the chase, is who has the best Darlington finish. Who has the best finish in the round. Which obviously goes to Reddick, since Reddick had no issues while Alex Bowman wrecked. Which I think that's fucking stupid, having the tiebreaker in the chase be your best finish in the round. If anything, the tiebreaker should be most wins or most second place finishes and so on. Because by making the tiebreaker your best finish in a round, it just proves your regular season truly doesn't matter. So yeah, you know what Reddick having the tiebreaker over Bowman tells me? It tells me Bowman's 3 wins this year don't mean shit. If anything, Bowman should have the tiebreaker, not Reddick, because Bowman has 3 wins this year. Reddick has no wins. The tiebreaker should be most wins. Change my mind. And then you wonder why people shit on the chase grid so much and think the chase grid is stupid and dumb and an illegitimate way of crowning a champion. I mean, the fans aren't wrong. They're not 100% wrong. And then you got Kyle Busch, 2 points below the cutoff line. Byron, 9 points below the cutoff line. And then you got McDowell, 20 points below the cutoff line. Let's be real, McDowell stands no chance. We can all pretend he still has a shot, right? But yeah, with Bowman though, like I said with Bowman, like I said in the predictions video, Bowman was easily the biggest boom or bust pick in the chase. I said if you pick him at your own risk. But yeah, like I said, Bowman's either gonna go deep or he's gonna be out in the first round. So far, Bowman's leaning toward bust. But yeah, anyway, on to Richmond next weekend for race 2 of the chase. Who will put themselves in good positions entering Bristol? Tune in next week to find out. Peace.